Greetings, programs, and welcome back to CK2 after another gap. I know I'm getting bad at this, but you know, I do get around to it eventually. So, last time round we had basically a little war in Finland, helping out Scotland too, and that was pretty much it. And it's going to be a bit of a boring start to this episode as well, potentially, because my plan is just to wait for the truce with England to cool down. I was fabricating a claim in Lancaster, and then I decided to pull back on that. And what I'm going to do is actually go for the de jure claim on Leicester instead, because Queen Margaret, she's not a spring chicken anymore. Although having said that, I was looking it up. She's one of the longer reigning monarchs. She's getting on for 32 years as the Queen of Scotland at this point, which is not bad going. But yeah, there's a chance that by the time we get that, like I'd rather go for the de jure claim first, basically, and then maybe spend my money on fabricating some claims on other bits of England afterwards. And that gives me also some time to accumulate more cash and actually some time to build upgrades in my holdings as well. So it's basically reprioritizing the cash for other purposes. Now, there was one other thing that I wanted to do, because I was checking the succession laws for England, as one does, and it's actually flipped round to being the eldest son here of King Stephen, Caption guy. And you know, previously there was scurrilous rumours of plots against other people, but they were against the wrong people. So, you know, if there were going to be scurrilous plots, scurrilous rumours of plots, they would have to be against this person here. So I'm just, you know, I'm not somebody that would ever. Should we just not do that again? I think I've played that joke to death already. No, we are absolutely going to try and bump off Prince Bealthwine, but it might be a bit tricky because nobody really seems inclined to join in. There's one or two that might be bribable, but this might have a rather low plot power overall. Well, actually, let's do that. Let's throw some of this cash around. So we've got the Spy Master of England. He'd be a really good one to have on board, actually. What's his deceitful, cruel, and paranoid? He's not going to. Okay, he's not honest. He's not going to blurt it out. Although hopefully he's not. No, he's not a drunkard either. That's one you have to watch out for. So if I were to say send them a gift of 20, that's actually all right. And then invite to plot. Oh yes. Okay, there we go. Now the Spy Master of England is in on that. Oh, intrigue is the screen we want. And then there was somebody else as well. I think there might have been two somebody else's. So we've got a courtier and who's, wow, 88. She might pop a clogs. I'm not sure that'll be worth it. And also the Duke of Somerset, who that's going to be a more expensive gift, but we'll do it anyway. And that's also bought his support. Oh, 10%. He might also be worth. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with this. It's another 20 gold. Invite to plot. Yes. So, if this fires off, Margaret is still third in line for the succession, so we would have somebody else to manoeuvre out the way. But, yeah, Jordan Fitzalan, whoever that is. In fact, we might be able to find that. Apparently, one of the, I was reading the dev, I can spell, the dev diary for search all. Fitzalan, there we go. Duke of Gloucester. So the Duke of Gloucester's in line for the. Okay, we know who that is now. Yeah, that's one of the things they're going to change is when you've got that kind of succession list, that it will actually be laid out differently on the UI, and you'll be able to click on portraits to take you exactly to the character rather than having to go and search for them through the character finder. So it'll all be more kind of, you know, concentrated in one place. And I think after, well, it'll be interesting to see what the China DLC is like generally. People have been suggesting China for years, but I think more people have been suggesting it had the idea that the map would somehow be extended. But I don't think that's really practical. I think the game engine would just completely fall over if I had that many extra characters to deal with. So instead it's kind of like an off-screen presence, as it were. So we'll see how it works out. Anyway, so these people are joining the plot. I'll just have a quick check of my... We're actually almost caught up on our previous high point for the retinue cap. I mean, it's still about 1,000-ish to go, which will basically be caught up with laws and improvements to the holdings, but it will take a little while. But it means at some point we might actually be able to add to that that pile of retinues that we've had for a while. Also just checking to see everyone's doing what they could be doing. We might actually send have them train troops rather than do military tech. I'm talking of tech, I should probably check that as well. I don't think there's anything we can... I could go for religious customs. I'm not that fussed about... I don't really want to dump points into that. That's just going to slowly tick away anyway. No, there's really nothing else we can do for the time being. Yeah, I don't know. I think light infantry in the military column and then in the economy advance is possibly construction, but there's a ways before we get to being able to do that. Also, we should keep an eye on what Tanistry messages are doing, because of course that happens every time you load up the game. My son Duncan wants FIFA Zone, isn't he? Yeah, he's the one. I remember this from last time. He's betrothed to somebody who's going to be landed, so he just has to be patient. Just be patient, Duncan. Just be patient. Just be patient. Have patience. You're already the Chancellor of Scotland, which is not bad going at the age of 17. So just, you know, just calm thyself. Oh, the other thing that I was looking at before I started, and we'll actually pause for this, I was poking around the Buchanans, the thrice damned Buchanans, and the good news is the Buchanan line within Scotland is going to go extinct, kind of. This is the last of the Buchanans left in Scotland, the Earl of Atholl, and his heir is actually his daughter, because his eldest son's celibate and has actually... Oh, they've joined the Knights Templar, that'll be why. So his daughter, who's got a regular marriage, and the regular marriage is of House Dunbar. So they'll be descended from Buchanans, and unfortunately there are Buchanans and McJedis intermingled at this point. If I can find out where it was. I was poking around, so I think there's one or two. In fact, the current Queen of Scotland 2 is actually the daughter of a Buchanan, which I think I probably mentioned at some point previously. But yeah, the Scottish Buchanans, you can see the kind of... Oh, the main branch almost... they've all kind of ended up marrying into different houses and ending up being of different houses, but there's this whole other side over here which is kind of including the troublesome Buchanans, the ones that were very briefly kings of Scotland. Yeah, those are unfortunately still in a position of power in Scotland too, as the Dukes of Meath, and they aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. So yeah. But it's, you know, it's nice that Scotland itself, Scotland Prime, as it were, is almost free of the Buchanans. That's not bad. Right, so let's see what improvements we can actually... betrothal message. Deal with that in a second. Kind of tempted to... Oh, not Tetushi. I don't think we'll be pumping a lot of cash into Tetushi somehow. I could go for a castle town in, but that doesn't give me more troops exactly. I would rather do things that give me more troops. I think stables in Tain, and then we'll just accumulate a bit more. I could, with that amount of cash, build something else right away, but I keep clicking on Tetushi. I don't mean to do that. Yeah, or maybe I could build something... Okay, actually, yeah, we will build another thing. I was thinking we'd just accumulate a pile of cash further, but let's build a keep in Dagobah, which will increase the levy size there as well. So yeah, what we'll do then is I'll just do a jump cut, and if something interesting happens, like say certain assassination plots come to fruition, we'll be there to witness it. But otherwise it's just going to be me waiting for the truce with England to expire, which is going to take a little while, in fact. If I can remind myself how long. 25th June 1323, so we've got like 7 years, something like that. Anyway, also there was a message. Duke of Deheubarth wants to marry Princess... Oh, was this the betrothal? Yeah, okay, we'll just set that up. And anyway, so yeah, we'll do a jump cut here, and I shall see you in just a moment. Well, there's one or two things that have happened, nothing that directly concerns us, but the first is there's been a crusade, the 7th crusade for Jerusalem. Interestingly, the title of Jerusalem is still held by the Doge of Pisa, so they still style themselves the Doges of Jerusalem, even though they no longer actually hold any land down that way. But as you can see so far, yeah, Pisa itself isn't actually involved, and it doesn't appear to be going that well. Although, I don't know, theoretically, if any of those people were cozy with Byzantium, they could use the Byzantine Levantine holdings, there's a bit of a mouthful, to just walk down into the bit of Jerusalem that they want to have. But yeah, I don't think any of them are on that close terms with Byzantium. The other thing that's just happened is that Fergal MacJedi has declared a host war against Aquitaine, which is a bit far-fetched, but on the other hand, Aquitaine is... let's take a look. They've got a Toulousian independence war going on, which has been, let's see, the Dukes of Toulouse and Seville. England's actually been called into that, interesting. But it looks like that's just about... We had 99% war score, that's just about one. But that might have drained their manpower enough that this rather sizable host will be able to do something. I don't know. It's going to be difficult to follow this directly. In fact, that's not even all the troops, because they'll have put as many troops as they can on the event-spawned boats. I might just follow this for a little bit. I want to see how these troops do. Although I don't know if we'll be able to get a direct view, because even though the MacJedi's, it's a host is kind of like a landless state as far as the game is concerned, so that they're not of my court anymore, essentially. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. They do have a fair few troops to ferry down there, and I might get to see some of it in action, because of course we've still got land down in France ourselves, including Paris. So yeah, we'll see exactly how they actually manage that. We'll actually speed that up a bit. I've also got some building works going, as you can see. Wow, they really only landed quite a small army there. Don't know how long that's going to last. If they're having to land their armies piecemeal, I don't know. But they have the capability to move a lot more troops at once, so I don't know why they moved that one small group of troops, which is liable to just be swept up by the Aquitanian forces. There we go, they won that Toulousian war. Yeah, I don't know. They're going to have to get a move on, because otherwise the Aquitanian armies are just going to come marching up the country and deal with them. Unless there was enough of a gap that Aquitaine actually stood down their armies, and they're now going to have to re-raise them. But it's just the number of troops that they have. It might work, maybe? I mean, it's an outside chance. And it won't be the first time we've had a MacJedi on the throne of... well, it was France, and then Aquitaine kind of subsumed France. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's unlikely. But it would be very amusing if it did actually happen. Right, let's see if we can't build something else in Dagobah. Training grounds. Stables are fairly cheap. Let's go for stables. I'm just trying to slowly build up my the number of troops I have directly available, which is actually going to be like there's scope. There's definitely scope for it, because both Dagobah's somewhat developed at this point, but Mitford is barely developed at all. There's only really castle walls there. So, yeah, it's possible that I can get myself a good couple of hundred more troops, maybe even, you know, with upgrades across the board, with sufficient time, I could get that figure up to, oh, I don't know, 9 or 10,000 maybe. Could I squeeze an extra 4,000 troops out of my 7 holdings? I don't know. It might be a bit of a long shot to say an extra 4,000. That might be just completely wishful thinking. Let's say like 2,000, an extra 2,000 troops out of my holdings. Right, there we go. So this is kind of what I thought might happen, because they've just transported the armies piecemeal instead of doing what would have been sensible and splitting up the armies so that they could get as many as they want to. The AI is just sent over, for some reason, with the 150 boats, it's sent over just a single stack. Oh, there we go. I died. Oh well. I was not expecting that to happen. Anyway, we were here to watch another thing, and now a different thing has happened. So, Dorjander, who was Earl of somewhere, I think they were a French count. Yes, Earl of Chalon. So we'll give Chalon to somebody else. If I remember correctly, he was actually a bit older than Margaret. That was a good instinct at the start, not to continue with that thing with the Lancaster, because we would have lost that cash essentially. The claim would have gone, and yeah. So we've lost a bunch of claims that Margaret did have, though, including on France. But we were never seriously interested in France. It would be a bit wacky to inherit France, but. Yeah, what does that do to, where are we? English succession. Murik MacJedi is, so there's still a MacJedi in the line of succession. Murik, Duke of York, or his son? I'm going to guess it must be Duke Murik of York, because York is within the de jure bounds of England. In fact, the reason why I was in contention is because some of my personal holdings were also within the de jure bounds of England. Anyway, so we need to find somebody to give Chalon to, and we need to make sure that the realm is going to be stable. So let's take a look, see what the Dukes are doing. Duke of Lothian's a bit on the low side, but it's still positive. And once the short reign bonus bleeds off, yeah, this looks all right. Nobody's in the negative, and Duke Murik, as I noted in the last episode, is a very capable military leader. So if he can last long enough for the cooldown with England to like just from having him, wow, we have like an extra 1,500 troops just from having him with his 19 martial score. So that should actually give me a really nice boost. But I think because I've got worse diplomacy, Margaret had better diplomacy, right? No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that one. History. Yeah, Margaret had 18, so I'm getting less vassal troops because my diplomacy is lower, but it's kind of made up for. Yeah, so it's about 900-ish, 800-ish less vassal troops, but I'm still coming out on top because I've got the extra 1,500 from the direct thing. Anyway, so we don't seem to have any imminent threat of civil war. We'll have a look at who's the next in line after this. Prince Duncan of Scotland. Is he any good? Terrible Marshal. Could be improved with time. Oh, he's the impatient one. He's the one. He's going off to... Right, we actually don't want him because I think that's a regular betrothal. So anyone but Prince Duncan. For some reason, the Petty King of Gallic is in contention. I don't know. We do want someone with good military. Wow, there are a bunch of Cuman MacJedis now. We do actually have... I think this is the first time we've had a fake Scottish MacJedi on the throne of Scotland for a little while, to be honest. Let's try nominating Queen Euthura and see if anybody else takes the bait. We also will need, let's see, yeah, Duncan was Chancellor. For some reason he's been unchancelled. I think what we might do, we might actually go with Tord, because he's got the ambition, because we know Duncan's going to go off and do his own thing, so we'll stick with Tord. Who was the courtier that was unhappy? Not the courtier, the vassal. Duke of Lothian, which is there. So we'll actually send them to improve relations with Duke of Lothian. And what other messages have we got? The mine too big. Yes, we're going to deal with that in a second. Choose an ambition. I can improve learning, or I can have an ambition to have a son. My wife's only 29. I mean, it's possible. I think that would give me prestige. No, 10 piety, it's not that big. I think we'll just go with the improved learning ambition. Important decisions. We can have a grand tournament. And we can nominate a successor for the Kingdom of England. Oh, it is that Murig. So let's click. So Murig's actually got 2 votes. So he's moved up the line of succession. So Bjortwine, you know, has an unfortunate accident. Oh, they're recalling me back to the uprising, I think, or is this a separate uprising? I still don't know what's going on with this rebellion. They do seem to actually now have troops sieging that province, but for a long time there just didn't seem to be any troops involved at all, so it was a bit confusing. Right, so Chalon's actually got a bunch of troops, but it's just in a really awkward place, so that must be a very well-developed province. Oh, it's a very, very well-developed province. So we'll give Chalon to somebody we like, I guess. Who's actually in the court? I could give it to Duncan, but I mean he's getting married to. Well, actually, no, that's a thought. If we give it to Duncan because he's marrying, was it the Duchess of Brandenburg? I mean, it involves losing land to the HRE, but it then means that's one less province in France to faff around with. That just won't be my problem anymore. So you know what we are? We're going to give Tanis to Duncan. And that'll get him off my back. We'll give him Chalon because he wants a title. So we'll do that. And then theoretically yeah, Duchess of Brandenburg, theoretically that should then flip to be, well, it might not though. It might not. It might end up being inherited into the HRE, but actually no, I think it should. Now I've landed him, it should still remain within Scotland for the time being. Also, we've lost more. Why have we lost more? I don't know. Anyway, let's go with the Duke of Lothian, who will get a nice bump from that. It's nice to be able to give that to a Duke and get the opinion boost. And Prince Bishop of Paris. My Spy Master's not very good. I think because, oh, it'll be because I inherited the previous positions, as it were. So, who could we have? Murig wants to be Marshal, but we've got the Duke of Albany's going to be a way better Marshal. Let's go with Murig then as the Spy Master, and Godfrey, Duke of Albany, as our Marshal, because he's a very, very capable Marshal. And if I have him train troops, we'll have even more troops available. Let's see. Research cultural tech. I think everybody's assigned how I want them to, and let's just let it run a little bit longer and see what messages we get. So what's that succession list still looking like? Ah, he's still in. Okay, he's flipped back to being in 3rd place. It's actually easier if I look there, I think. Oh wait, Murig's nominated me. Ooh. Can I nominate myself? Excellent. Okay, better relations with the Duke of Lothian, that's very useful. Yeah, Murik actually nominated me, so if I nominate myself, this is an outside shot, just because he's a little on the old side, Dorjander, but yeah. Okay, so this isn't bad. We could even, in theory, push for absolute crown authority, but I don't think we have to do that. I don't think we need to do that just now. We might get it through, but it would strain relations with our vassals. And I don't think... I mean, that one, like, high crown authority is really desirable because you don't get any external... Oh, actually, having said what I said, that it's just pegged. I'm on high crown authority, so Shalom might not pass to the HRE because I've got high crown authority. So, yeah, external inheritances can't happen. But the thing for vassals to not be able to declare war, I think that's less of an issue at the moment. Yeah, I don't think this host to take Aquitaine is I don't think it's really working. No, I don't think that's working at all. It's because they had the ships to move like 3 of these 4,700 troop stacks at once, and it was just doing them one at a time. So that's obviously gone completely disastrously. Who knows? The AI is not very bright sometimes. How's the crusade going? Minus 42% war score. They are trying. Has Pisa... No, the Knights of Santiago, Teutonic Order are now involved, but there's no great... Like, I'm a bit surprised, honestly, that Pisa hasn't joined in. I don't know why the current Doge of Pisa's just kind of chilling. He just doesn't seem fussed. He's got a pretty good military score as well. Is it? Are they like just? Oh, okay. They're already at war with the HRE. That might be it. He's also been called into the defence against the King Virgil's host. Okay, it probably is the fact that they are already at war with the HRE. And it looks like kind of holding their own, at least for the time being. Who knows? Anyway, so, I don't think there's anything else really interesting happening at the moment. Some kind of internal fighting going on in Norway. What's happening there? Norway and Sweden are fighting each other. Okay. And, oh, Holstein seems to have become independent. Because that was part of Denmark. Denmark doesn't consist of very much at the moment. No, Denmark's pretty much just Sealand. Yeah, no, Denmark's quite weak right now. That actually might potentially be... there might be an opening there, maybe. But with Dorjander being 60, I'm kind of reluctant to start... for the same reasons as previously, I'm kind of reluctant to start spending money, or potentially spending money on fabricating claims, when I could just use my guaranteed de jure claim on Leicester to take another county off England. England's moving some troops around. I think that is just... I guess, did they peace out with the host? They must have, because England was defending against the host, but they're now involved with the Swedish-Norwegian war. Scotland too is involved with that as well, apparently. Interesting. So, you know, if we were able to attack right now, that'd be pretty useful, but we can't. We've still got like 5 years on the truce cooldown. We could just, before we jump forward again, have a quick look at the where are we? Sort by army size. Scotland's got to be doing pretty well now. We were at a peak of about 20,000 before, and with Dorjander having come to the throne, that's brought us up to a very healthy 23,000. So that's more of a gap. Yeah, England was about 19k, I think, with being at war and moving troops around. That sapped their strength a bit. So that's a much more comfortable gap than 19k and 20k. That's now, what, almost 6,000? Just about 6,000, in fact. So if and when we come for Leicester, spoilers, it's going to be when. Yeah, it's going to hopefully not be as expensive as last time. We hopefully won't need to get ourselves a great big mercenary army. So that'll be nice. Right, let's have a quick look through. Okay, that's just a message about level reinforcements, plus 50%. Not actually that useful at the moment because we're not at war. Bambara. Training grounds. I'm just trying to decide. It's difficult, you guys. It's difficult. Stables, maybe. Let's have a look in Tain. What's available there? We could go to Barracks 4 in Tain, actually. That would push us over the 1,000 troops. Yeah, let's do that. There's also a bunch of these where we could upgrade the castle towns, so we could actually be making even more money. But at the moment, it's kind of like I'm making enough that I'm not feeling like I need to be pushing to, you know, be making all the money in the world. But maybe the next time I upgrade something, it'll be one of the castle town upgrades. But at the moment, I'd much rather have things that give me troops directly. Anyway, so PointyHairedJedi, this is the young genius that was briefly the Tannist, I believe. Yeah, let's find somebody. Oh no, that's the educate child. There we go. I was trying to marry them off before I'd even chosen who I was going to. Murig's not bad, although he's got a bunch of rather negative traits. I could take him under my own wing. Content, diligent, just, paranoid. Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a go at raising Gilbride. Gilbride's promising. Just the fact that he's a genius. He's already picked up deceitful as well, which is why his intrigues shot up to 10. Although the base on his stats is some of his stats is not great, so genius is kind of making up for the base stats. But he's only 6. Base stats of most 6-year-old characters are going to be, generally speaking, not great. Okay, I'm just having a little poke around. Well, the family, I mean, I've said this so many times, but the McJedis are getting a bit ridiculous. 118 living members. We are the new Karlings, basically, at this point. We can't, unfortunately. I don't think there's any way. Like, it'd be great in the ledger if you could look up dynasties and see who has the most. The Capes are doing all right. If I look on the where's the dynasty map? The Capes are, you know, that's quite a lot of Western Europe is ruled by one Cape or another. Including quite a lot of bits of Spain. But they're, you know, living members are only 38. I mean, what a bunch of noobs. Let's have a look at the Ludoviga. Living members 49. That's not bad. I think we might be in the lead here, you know. I think we might be winning just based on sheer prodigiousness. 72. Of House Palaiologos, I think. Don't know how you say that. I should have just tried to play it off as though I was, you know, 100% confident about how I was pronouncing that, but I didn't quite have that thought until after I'd said it in a really really weak-chinned manner. Anyway, so yeah, I think we might be one of the foremost dynasties just in terms of, you know, going at it like rabbits, but I don't think the game gives you points for that. So yeah, we'll jump ahead again here and it's only another 4 years to go before the truce with England expires. So we'll see. We'll see if anything happens in the meantime, or if we can actually manage to get through the rest of the truce period. They've jumped back in a little bit early because I've gotten a learning event. I got one already, which was just, you know, you read some books and got a bit smarter. But this one's actually one of the ones that involves maybe a choice or two. So I've gone looking for a wise old hermit living somewhere in the wilds of the Western Isles, and I can go and try and find them, or I can look for another way, but we'll go and try and find them. Why not? The other reason I wanted to jump back in is, well, we've only got about 5-ish months before the truce ends, so we're nearly there anyway. But yeah, look at Aquitaine. Aquitaine's a mess. There's about 3 civil wars going on at the moment. Oh, even more than that. It's now 4 civil wars. So there's a de jure war with Aragon, and I think that might have been the spark. They attacked Aragon, and then all the other people were waiting in the wings for a chance to stab King Rolf II. Was it King Rolf? I guess it was him the war started with. So yeah, there's a Crown Authority war, there's an Installation war, and there's a claim on France. So somebody's trying to grab France. So yeah, it's a complete patchwork at the moment. I think Aquitaine might be a bit screwed. It's not going to come out looking how it did. There's also been some movement in the HRE, as you can see, and there's been a couple of wars going on there as well. So at the moment, there was one that finished already, but this one's still ongoing, which is somebody's claim for the HRE. So this is the Duke of Gelre, who's managed to pull in a whole bunch of people, including the Queen of Bohemia. Right, so we've trekked off into the wilds, enduring the midgies, the many midgies. We won't even have had a good pair of wellies. You know, I don't think they had wellies yet in 1323. So, yeah. The journeys along the roads, where they exist at all, are in poor condition. There wouldn't have been any roads. There would definitely have not been any roads at all. It would have just been squelching through endless peat bog. Anyway, a narrow mountain path, so this must be down in Harris somewhere. The wilds of Harris. You come upon the cave. A ragged piece of cloth is all that shields the entrance from the outside elements. The cloth parts slightly to reveal the face of a gnarled old man. He regards you in silence for a moment with his beady eyes, then disappears behind the cloth again. "No solicitors!" he shouts. "Don't you know who I am?" You push the curtain aside and enter the dark cave. Deep inside you find the hermit seated on a cushion in flickering candlelight. He must be well off if he can afford a candle. Good grief. He seems to be in some kind of trance at first, but then he opens an eye and looks at you with mild annoyance. "I thought I said..." "Oh, spit it out then. What do you want?" Hopefully he... this might be one of the ones that gives me +2. I'm hoping it's one of the ones that gives me +2, and then I can jump up to 9 learning. Which will be any time now. I'm not sure why that's not firing. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, okay, it says he let me stay for a few days, so I guess it was just letting a few days pass. After much badgering, the old man finally relents and permits you to stay for a few days. You observe him and carefully learn as much as you can. In the end, his wisdom seems limited to an endless stream of platitudes and maxims. You have memorized many, and at least they will make you seem more learned in the eyes of others. So this, oh, it is +2 learning. Excellent. So we've jumped from 7 to 9. So we've actually gone over the theoretical cap. I do have one other... the other ambition I could have picked was have a son, but actually we've had a son already as well. So Prince Minnick. Minnick? I'm not sure. Anyway. Must be a Jedi name because he's fake Scottish. So, just a little bit longer. Duke Murig keeps flipping back and forth, supporting me and then supporting himself for the throne of England. Which is, I don't know, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Margaret might have had a chance, but yeah. Oh, also, that plot's no longer running, so King Randolph of England, I don't know. Anselm Caption. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what happened with the succession there, but is this Gregory's son? I guess. Was it Gregory? Wasn't it Stephen was the previous? No, it was Gregory. Oh yeah, Stephen was the previous but one. Gregory just didn't rule for very long. Well, Gregory really didn't rule for very long. God, that was like barely a month. Anyway, so now they have a boy king, which actually, oh, that might have. Wait, even with Gregory having come in, that should have reset all the there. We don't need to wait till June. We can just go now. Okay then. Right. So, does your claim on Leicester? Let's very quickly check alliances. That should have. Yeah, they did have alliances with various places, but having gone through 2 kings in quick succession, yeah, they've only got alliances with vassals effectively. So let's get this party started and rock and or roll, as they say. Somebody somewhere says, somewhere probably. Let's make sure Tatushi's, where are we? 700, wow. We've actually, I mean, I was saying that, oh, 4,000 troops plus 4,000 troops is pretty fantastical. We've got now almost plus 3,000 over what we had at the start of this episode, and part of that is from having built a bit more infrastructure, but I think a huge part is down to the fact that Dorjanda just has such a good martial score, although I think it's actually dropped by 1. It was martial plus 2, or well, it was 19 before, wasn't it? So we've clearly gotten something that's given us, or we've lost something that gave us martial. I don't think we've gained something that's given us minus martial. We must just have lost something that gave us plus martial. Right, so yes, let's march these troops into place. We don't even... I don't think that concerns us. We don't really even need to get the boats going. We're just going to get everybody down to York and take Leicester. And I don't think we should have really any difficulties whatsoever grabbing Leicester. And I'm going to be very careful not to get it mixed up with Lancaster like I did in the previous episode. Leicester, Lancaster, you know, practically the same thing, right? Yeah, yeah. In fact, we can speed that up even a bit more just to get the troops in place. Oh, let's see how Kilbride's getting on. Oh, he's shining up rather nicely. Diplomacy 14. Stewardship's not that good. It's only how it is because he's got genius, but the rest of them are not bad. Right, I can give him, yeah, we'll have him keep kind. Diplomacy +2. So he looks like he'll be a very strong Diplo character. Duke Edgar of Moray revoked the county of Caithness. Okay, so I might need to keep an eye on that. Moray's gotten themselves a little bit stronger, although still only 2 provinces. That's not really a big issue. And with the last of my troops getting into place, yeah, I think a bunch of their troops, like England is in the Crusade at the moment, so a bunch of their troops are down south. The Crusades actually, it was down to about minus 50 war score at one point, and it's climbed a bit. A bunch more people have gotten involved. A bunch more people have decided to join the Crusade. Not me, though. I'm going to be entirely opportunist and stab England in the back. In fact, we can split, rather than suffer all that nasty attrition. Let's actually split the forces, because we're going to bleed troops fast by having quite that many. And England themselves aren't going to have some massive... Oh, having said that, they've been able to muster like 10,000 troops. Which is not so nice, but they're not going to march into my big stack. That's not a huge amount of attrition though, actually, 0.5, so we're actually not far off being within the unit cap for Leicester. That's alright. And anyone trying to... I think all of these surrounding provinces... I don't know about Derby, but Yeah, all of these surrounding provinces, it would be a river crossing penalty for... Whoa, hello. Where are you actually marching to? You're actually marching to Derby. They're trying to get my troops, I'm not sure. Not sure why they'd go after one stack and not the other. Unless it's just because that's the stack without any generals, not sure. What I might do is then have these troops sit in reserve. Yeah, Derby would be much less advantageous for a battle because it's only got river crossings between York and Leicester. So, what about Northampton? Would Northampton be a good place for a fight? Yes, potentially. So they're going to sit in siege there. Oh, what? What? That's literally out of nowhere. There's... Wow. Wow, you backstabber. We were actually... Like, it's not like I've got... Just... Wow, that's just out of the blue. You absolute backstabber. Okay, then. Who is this? Albany... Durham... Dumfries. Wow. I mean, this isn't a big... You know, this is not welcome. This is absolutely not welcome, but we're not. No, we're not. We're not giving in to this. You absolute backstabber. No. There was no, like, oh, there's a plot brewing or anything like that. That's just come out of nowhere. Okay. Right. Well, this just got messy. This just got super messy. Yeah, let's keep them training troops. Yeah, okay then. In which case I just lost a huge chunk of those troops. Because that was okay, that was loyal troops. All the disloyal troops were in that particular stack, so that stack's lost about 4-ish. Oh no, okay, yeah, no, we can't. We can't afford that fight. We can't afford to lose them to the English troops. That's super annoying! Oh! Oh, I am vexed. Oh. Right, okay. Well, now we have a war on two fronts. Yeah. It's fortunate it's not more, but everybody was relatively loyal and there was absolutely no hint this was going to happen. None at all. Those backstabbing sons of something. Anyway. Well, I think given that this just got a lot messier, I think that's just going to be an episode's worth of everything untangling this. So I think we might call it here. We might end... And I was hoping, oh, we'll just have a nice, you know, fairly quick war against... No, you backstabbing bastard. Right, so, yes, we'll end here. And then next time round, well, we're guaranteed of some action. We're definitely guaranteed of some action. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you can leave any comments about it below. You can hit the like button. You can sub to my channel if you haven't already. And, as always, stay tuned for more.